Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I have another cushion foundation review for you guys, and yeah, without further ado, let's just jump right in. So today we will be reviewing okay, so this is the Claire de Pau Radiant Cushion Foundation. Okay, so I got this from my iShop Changi haul. If you guys haven't seen it already, I'll link it up here or here. Maybe you guys can go and check it out. So I bought two cushion foundation. One is the Shiseido one, and the other one is this one. And I've also done the review on the Shiseido cushion foundation. If you guys are interested, I will also link it up here or in the information bar below. So today, this is the look I have. Okay, have achieved with this cushion foundation, and this is how it looks like. Okay, anyway, I decided to leave this thing on because I feel like it just keeps my hairs in place, so I'm just gonna leave it as it is, right? Let's just talk about the color. Okay, so over here, the color that I'm using is 020. If you're wondering, right, the package that it comes with looks something like that. It's a very big package, and normally when you have a cushion foundation, they have such a big packaging, right? You will kind of expect that they have a cushion, okay, like this, and then one more additional refill in it. But for Claire de Pau, they don't do that. They don't have a refill for it. I mean, a lot of these high-end brands that sells cushion foundation, they usually don't carry the refill for you guys, and some they don't even sell the refill. It depends. But Giorgio Armani does sell the refill, so if you finish using the original one that you bought, you can have a refill. I'm not sure about Claire de Pau, okay, but yeah, so they come separately. So they come with a case like that, and then the cushion is in another packet, and then you have to kind of like rip it off and then just get the thing out and then kind of do it. If I'm not wrong, that should be it. And then the puff is also in a separate like little packet, and then you have to kind of like take it off and take the puff out. I mean, I did record all this thing in the previous video, but I didn't like how it turned out, so that's why I'm doing it the second time. If I can, I will try to kind of put in the portion where they have this where I did record and film the portion where the sponge in the packet and then how I took it off, so you guys can actually feel how it kind of looked like. Right, I don't know. Oh, okay, anyway, if you guys are wondering, when you open it, right, this cushion foundation is in a pouch like this. So this pouch is very luxurious. I feel like it's very convenient because you don't have to, it's not like the Tom Ford one where you have to kind of open it up. So it's really like that. So you just need to kind of just push it out. And then it's a very nice navy blue with the Claire de Pau embossment on top. So it's a very luxurious package that you're getting. But of course the prices are pretty pricey. And yeah, a lot of people has mixed reviews on this particular cushion foundation. They said that it's too oily, it didn't wear as beautifully as they expected it to be. But let me just tell you guys my preference. I usually prefer to use cushion foundation that gets a little bit dewy at the end of the day. And when I first applied a cushion foundation, I don't like it to be fully matte. I have oily skin, and I hope for the foundation to a cushion foundation, right, to have the matte cushion foundation type of long lasting ability, but I just don't like how it looks on my skin when I first applied it. So they're like just too matte for my liking, so I rather use like a radiant cushion foundation because like the look, it's more like something I'm more comfortable with. And then I kind of also prefer, not really like prefer, like I just don't mind the dewiness or what some people might describe it as the oiliness or the greasiness at the end of the day. I don't mind it. So what's the most important for me is like I prefer to look like how I want to look like when I first apply the makeup, rather than I wait for like 2-3 hours and then I start to have to kind of look at that one. So I generally lean more towards radiant foundations or cushion foundation rather than the super matte ones. But that being said, I also have a couple of matte foundation that I enjoy. One of them is in my March-April favorites, which is the YSL All Hours. That one is okay because that one really did last quite long. But I really don't, not say like don't like, but I prefer to have my face to be dewy, like a little bit like sheen and a bit of glow after I first applied it, like straight afterwards, instead of like really matte. But if I know I'm going out for a really long day and I hope that my makeup don't look as dewy at the end of the day or as long lasting, I want it to be very long lasting, right, then I would definitely have to prefer or like choose a matte foundation put on. So yeah, and that's the reason why, since I prefer radiant cushion foundation, I don't mind giving this a go, although I have oily skin. So I'm actually pretty excited. Okay, so yeah, if you guys want to see the demo of this cushion foundation, then carry on watching. Hello. Bring you guys closer. Okay, so just get right in. Actually, I feel like out of so many, right, this puff feels the most luxurious. Okay, when you open it up, it looks like that, and then it's ready. Okay, so but before I start, let's just talk about what I have. The only thing that I have now is a moisturizer from Biossance. This is the Squalane Probiotic Gel Moisturizer, and that's all I have underneath. And then let's get started. So the color is actually pretty nice match, I feel like. It's not as... Okay, so I don't know, I feel like the color match of this foundation is slightly better now because it is slightly brighter, so kind of lift the complexion a little bit, but not too much. So I kind of like the color match of this one slightly. But if you're talking about summer shade, I think during summertime where I really goes under the sun a lot, I don't think this one will fit me, but right now it's okay. So this is like one thin layer and this one is without, so I think it's quite nice. And although it's like a radiant cushion foundation, it is not as dewy as other foundation that I have tried. So like when I first apply, of course, okay, it looks like it has a sheen, a little bit of dew, but not overboard. So this is about one layer of the foundation. I feel like if you don't have a lot of scars and don't have a lot of like pigmentation, this would probably be alright for you. But because I have some acne scarring here, as you guys can see, I'm gonna try and go in another layer to see if it picks up okay. Okay, this is the second layer. I feel like even with the second layer, there is a increase in coverage, but it still looks pretty natural and light. Yeah. So I'm going to try to go in one more time to cover up and see if I can build it up or not. Okay, I would say that the coverage is about like a medium, so a medium full. Definitely not to the point where it is fully covered because I still can see some marks underneath. So yeah. So out of so many foundation that I have recently done, I think if you're looking for coverage but you don't want it to be like super matte, the Shiseido one is the one for you. Yep, that one has more coverage. Upon the second layer, you can really see like it builds up to about this amount. But I do have to say that the Shiseido one, if you pack on a lot, it might look a little bit heavy. This one, even though I've packed on like the third layer, although the coverage is not as strong, it doesn't look that like heavy, like you have a lot of like base on. So this one is a good thing. And then this is how it looks like under my eyes. So far it didn't really cake, so that's a good thing. But it didn't fully cover up as well. But I feel like overall, out of so many foundation I tried these days, like the past 3 that I did a review on, I feel like this one gives the most beautiful finished. In terms of like, it's not super dewy, it is also not super matte. It looks like my skin that is naturally good, you know what I mean? So in terms of dewiness, I think the most dewy one of course has to be the Giorgio Armani cushion, and then followed by the Etude House Glow, then this one, the Clé de Peau one, and then followed by the Shiseido. But if you're talking about like which one is the best in between, I feel like this one looks pretty good. This one looks like it's I don't know, I feel like it looks pretty nice. It looks pretty natural as well. Like you have almost like 3 layers onto here. It doesn't look cakey in real life. Maybe through the camera, I don't know if you guys can see that obvious, but for me, I feel like this one looks good. Yep. So for me, I normally prefer this kind of finish anyway, so I would rather lean towards the Clé de Peau one or the Giorgio Armani one. The Shiseido one, it's not like I don't like it. I like it for its coverage and I also like how it kind of like stay fresh throughout the day. But that one has a little bit of like a thicker look that I feel like. So for me, I prefer this kind of like in between. Yeah, but so far this is how it looks like, and this is how it looks like without powdering. So I'm going to powder my face because I'm going to do a wear test for this foundation, this cushion foundation. So the same thing, I'm going to use the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk powder. I'm using the color number 4 if you're wondering. Then yeah, I'll put on the rest of my makeup, and then I'll come back and tell you guys more about the foundation, the review and everything. Because I've actually worn this cushion foundation for a couple of times already. This is like my 3rd time wearing it, so I think in terms of how it fares, I will be able to tell you guys roughly how it works and how it kind of performs. And then at the end of the 6 hours, I will also show you guys how it looked at the end of the day, just so you guys have an idea how it exactly looked like. So yeah, I'll be right back. Hello, I'm back. So this is the finished look. I put some blush, some highlight, and then finish my makeup look. Okay, and then this is how it looks like. Okay, so right now it is, let me check my phone, it's about 7 o'clock. I will check back at 12 o'clock, which is 5 hours later, and you guys can see how this entire thing works out. Yeah. Hello, right now it's 12:20, and I think it was like 5 to 6 hours after I put on this foundation, and I'm really sleepy, so I wanted to just remove the makeup, put some mask, and then head to bed because tomorrow is going to be a long day. Right, so anyway, just want to update you guys on how it wears. So from the lighting, you guys will probably feel like, oh my goodness, this one is really oily, but for me, I feel like this is pretty much how it looks like at the end of the day for majority of my foundation. Ever since I stopped using primer, that is, okay, usually if I put a oil controlling or matte primer, usually it looks fine, right? So yeah, so let's just take a closer look. So the cheeks are oily, you guys can see the nose, a little bit on the chin. The forehead, this area is as oily, I would say, as the rest of the places, and it's like the same as when I was doing the Shiseido cushion foundation wear test. But over here, it is slightly more oily for the Claire de Peau cushion foundation, I feel like. Other than that, I feel like this 2 area where it usually cakes up looks pretty okay. Yeah, it's pretty good actually. And then I'm not sure if you guys can see, but there's like 2 marks over here. Okay, these 2 marks is because I usually wear my X-Stix glasses, especially when I have to do editing or like watch something or something like that. I usually have that. And yeah, so although you can see the mark, right, but I feel like the marks are the least out of so many cushion foundation that I've tried. So this is like a bonus, because usually a lot of it will catch onto the pads, like the nose pads, and then this entire place, after it lifts off, it's very obvious and there's like some cakiness around it. But this one looks okay, like it still looks pretty good. And then the next thing is that although it looks oily, it didn't work funny, or it didn't settle down into my pores and create that weird looking sesame seed that I always emphasize on, because I'm really scared of that. I really hated that one. But so far it didn't do that for me. So I feel like if you are a person who have dry skin, then I think you guys will enjoy this one. Or if you prefer this kind of dewy makeup kind of thing, you might also dig this cushion foundation. And if you're like me, you have oily skin but wants to have this kind of radiant type of look, you might want to try. But if like this is too much for you to bear, you can either choose to blot, or if you don't mind putting a primer underneath, then you can choose to put oil controlling or any type of like matte primer underneath to control it. I think that will look better. Another thing is you can possibly bake with it, because usually if I skip on my primer but I want this to last a little bit longer, I usually bake them. But that's just my personal preference, because after you bake, you can get rid of the cakiness, or like not the cakiness, the madness of it, with a Fix Plus or like a setting spray. But if you use a, I don't know, like if you use like a matte foundation, like a super matte foundation, it looks not as smooth. And then I think it's also because powder more often than not have that kind of like soft focus look to it, so I think it looks slightly better. I'm not so sure, but I'd rather bake than to put like a really matte foundation on. But yeah, so I totally digress, but since this is the end of it. So I hope you guys have an idea of how this thing looks like. And yeah, I feel like it's okay. I mean, this foundation is something that I would just continue to use. I wouldn't repurchase it, probably because there's always new cushion foundation out in the market, and there's still so many that I've yet to try. So yeah, but I feel like if you know, company stopped making any cushion foundation, new one anymore, and I've tried the majority of the cushion foundation, then this might be one that I will want to continue using, and repurchase this one. Maybe the price is a little bit steep, that's all that's ever to complain, but overall I feel like it looks good. And then the coverage here, okay, I think it stayed on pretty nice. Maybe it faded a little bit on these 3 little pimples here, but this one I think covered up pretty well throughout the day. It did maybe fade a little tiny bit, but it's not that much. And honestly, I feel like my blush and my highlight is still there. So overall, I think this cushion foundation, despite it being oily, okay, because it's a radiant foundation after all, I feel like it looked pretty good. Like, yeah. So if you're considering for a high-end cushion foundation, I highly suggest you go up to the counter, give it a try, and then decide if you want to get it. Okay, so we have watched the demo, you have watched the check-in at the end of the day. We are going to talk about a little bit on this cushion foundation. I've worn this cushion foundation for the 3rd time already, and I feel like throughout the whole entire day I am able to kind of tell you guys how this cushion foundation works and everything. Overall, I would say like the finish of it at the end of the day, right, is very similar to my Giorgio Armani, to my La Mer ones. Okay, this one is slightly oilier. Like, I do look slightly oilier at the end of the day as compared to, like, say the Giorgio Armani one. I don't know why, for some reason it looks slightly oilier. And I cannot not powder it, because if I do not powder it at the end of the day, I really look super oily. Like, it's a next level type of oily, so I do set it with powder nonetheless. And overall, I don't feel like it is anything that that is like super unhappy with. The finish and everything, I think it still looks pretty good. When I first applied it looks really nice, especially after you set it with powder lah, because I usually set it with powder anyway. So after everything is done, like right now, I feel like it did offer a little bit more coverage than the Giorgio Armani cushion foundation. Okay, and around these places where I often are a little bit dry and a lot of my cushion foundation do kind of like, you know, catches at all these places, they are doing pretty nice. So overall, I feel like this cushion foundation works and applies beautifully, and I don't feel like it's being too oily at the moment, even after I set it with powder, because sometimes I've used cushion way in the past that after I set it with powder you can still see that it is pretty dewy, but this few ones, especially this one, doesn't really feel like that. And then yeah, it also looks pretty nice. And on porous places, like where my pores are always a concern, I feel like it looks okay. It doesn't look like too obvious or anything like that. It did kick up a little bit under my eyes, probably because I didn't set it properly, but that's alright. But overall, I'm quite happy with it. Yep. And at the end of the day, the other time, from what I remember, is that this foundation is definitely a little bit more oily than the Giorgio Armani one, a little bit more oily than the La Mer one. But I would say there's just a hairline, a tiny bit more oily. So you really can't really see the difference, honestly, but I'm like really scrutinizing it, that's why I feel like it's slightly oilier. But despite it being oily, it did wear beautifully, and it fades. I mean, like areas where it kind of fades gracefully and beautifully. And the most importantly is, despite me having oily skin, they did not settle down into my pores and create those little sesame seeds there, which I cannot. Yeah, so my camera died again. So back to what was I saying? Is that it didn't create those little sesame seeds, which I cannot tolerate. It looks horrible. This one doesn't do that. Okay, the Tom Ford one did. I'm not sure what happened to it, but maybe I'm gonna try it again and maybe do an update video for that one, because I cannot believe that high-end cushion foundation does this kind of thing to my face, because I've never had this kind of issue with any cushion foundation, even in Korea, even like the lower-end cushion foundation. I've never had that issue, but I had it with Tom Ford. So this one, they are all dewy foundation, okay? They are all dewy cushion foundation, but the top one does that, and I'm very happy that this Claire de Peau one didn't do that for my skin. So yeah, so far pretty happy with it. If there's anything to add on, I'll just add it on at the end of the day, like just in case anything I've forgotten. And just in case I have forgotten to mention, this cushion foundation has SPF 25, and then it also has a PA triple plus. And honestly, I feel like Claire de Peau and Shiseido, they are made from the same company. They are made in Japan. It's a Shiseido Co. Limited in Ginza, Tokyo. So honestly, I feel like if you wanted to choose and you feel like this cushion foundation might be a little too expensive for you, do consider Shiseido. I mean, although the one that I tried is more like a little more like matte in the finish and the appearance of it, you can try the glow one. I'm pretty sure they do not differ too much, because they're technically still produced from the same factory anyways. So yeah, so if there's anything to add on, I'll just carry on over here. And yeah, so this is the end of